It was a plain April afternoon, the mysterious Kamchatka Valley in the remote village of Rushy. Some unusual creatures appeared on the shores of Russia. The villagers were surprised to see it. Basically, it was a giant ferocious polar bear never seen before among local people. But now the question is, how did this bear get there? Because usually these animals live in other ice areas 100 kilometers away. There is actually a story behind it. Honestly, the story is very funny. Let's tell that amazing story in today's video. Suddenly, the bear broke the ice every day in search of food. 100 kept moving away. Again, the story is very interesting, but whatever his previous efforts may have been, but all his efforts were in vain. Because then he was right around the corner, and there was no water, and so began the adventure of his life. After a few weeks, the animal arrived in a strange land. The new and completely unfamiliar creature was not in his mind from his native land, but he was hungry for so long. So he went to Barry to look for food after the new Jagaho. Keep digging for good food, but all his efforts failed because this new place was not just a stranger to him. At the same time, it was very hot, and he lacked suitable food. Shubua looked around at first and did not dare to enter the village, although he could hear the noise of the village people in the distance. Usually, the bear is far away from the people's residence, but the bear is hungry and tired. So he was forced to walk into the village. He saw the building at So he walked to the building. In fact, it was the village. The little police bear was there. Shu Pai, near the gate of the village, raised his tired weak body and long-term face. He stood in the guard for help, but in the eyes of the local police, this scene did not appear at. Two officers. Bear came to Barry to take a good look at it. His goose was white fur and no longer bobbed. It was normal to come to him. After that, the police were careful to approach the animals so that no Vanapa and Vap would not attack them. The officers finally understood what the animals were. Everyone was shocked to see polar bears in the ice area in winter, in hot countries. They didn't think how these polar bears came to their small village. They thought it was the animals, or something bad happened. So the bear crossed the land of his own country to another country. If they noticed it, they would see that there was a wound on his front leg, and if they noticed it, they would put it on their body. The officers were very sad to see the pain and decided to help the bear anyway. Although the rescue team, they were surprised to hear of this unusual event. They soon moved to India. They first took care of the bear's legs and tried to pull it in line. Interestingly, after a long time there, the locals named the bear Sleeping Bear. The villagers brought him a lot of fish and food every day, and so many things. Bear went to Maria to return to his country. And this Kyoto seems to be a good in the eye, but the good story quickly spread around. As a result, people from the surrounding area also gathered to see him. Although the police were careful to keep an eye on Bear, someone was very close to him. Because there may be serious dangers, local authorities have a lot of thought. He said he could not survive in a hot country in any way. So, if you want to keep the bear alive, you must return it to its habitat, that is, in the ice. But what do they do, because the good is so sick that he can't find his own way back to his country in any way? Even if polar bear can walk by himself, he will definitely die halfway. So Vladimir Guardian, chairman of the Regional Forestry Department, said the animal. It is not easy to return to habitat, although polar bears sometimes break the ice and float far away from their habitat. Unfortunately, in most cases, their previous state cannot be returned. So they die of lack of food. This is more likely, but the locals can't accept it in any way. They are ready to help polar bears in any way. And this phenomenon quickly spread around. Many other rescue teams also sent bears to help him. Expressed interest, but fortunately, for a long time, the locals made all kinds of arrangements to let the guest return to his residence. Even the governor of the region applied to the prime minister of the country for a helicopter to sit down and let him return to his residence in the Arctic region. In addition, a special cage was made. Just 8 days after Balata Rush arrived in the region, the Rush government finally launched a rescue operation to let him return to the polar region. This rescue operation is quite risky because no animal of this size has ever been taken to a helicopter before. So the rescue team is very thoughtful. They are still determined to save Ka. Rasher Kamchatka Valley, the meteor was injected with a special injection to sleep, so that the helicopter was completely calm. He was taken to the helicopter before he was knocked unconscious when the bear was taken to the helicopter. The people of Kamchatka Peninsula applauded him, but no one knew what was going to happen on this huge road of 700 kilometers. The concurrent members of the huge distance Pideo are quite worried. Suddenly they heard strange 1 o'clock in the cage. They will understand that 1 o'clock is waking up. Everyone is careful, they are going anyway. Miners will scare him, because if the bear moves in the vape, the whole helicopter will overturn. But fortunately, we realized in a miraculous way that these people are trying to help him. So he didn't even try to get out of the cage or attack anyone. Instead, the bear sat quietly in the cage and was quite scared. Still, love surprised everyone. Everything went well. Finally, they arrived at his residence. After the helicopter landed, they opened the cage first. The bear was trying to get out of the cage. The first good one hesitated, but after a while, Barry came out of the cage. Finally, everyone's sincere efforts, and Katari returned to the house. There is so much good work for human beings, which proves that human beings are actually the best creatures created.